That's Nick.
And that's Joseph. And today we're here to talk about Don't Make Me Go, the third film directed by Hannah Marks, which premiered at the 2022 Tribeca Film Festival and is being released courtesy of Amazon Studios July 15th, 2022.
You said debut?
Third.
Oh, third. Do you know this person's other films?
Yeah, in 2018 she directed a feature called After Everything, which is also a disease movie. And in 2021, Mark, Mary, and Some Other People, about a couple struggling with monogamy, which I saw out of Sundance that year, I believe. We've also reviewed a few movies she starred in because she's been in quite a few film productions, including Banana Split, which I think came out at the onset of the pandemic.
Is she the main girl from that?
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
And she's a supporting character in I Used to Go There, which co-starred Jemaine Clement, who has a supporting role in this film. I will start out by saying that I'm very impressed that, you know, for someone that's so young, because she's only 27, 28, this is her third feature, very impressive. I still think perhaps finding a way as a storyteller. But before we dig into this too much, just know that the screenwriter, Vera Herbert, this is a 2012 Best of Blacklist Unproduced Screenplays back in 2012.
Really?
Yeah, I was surprised at that too.
The basic story is very simple. It's about a single father. The dad is played by
John Cho.
He has a 17-year-old daughter?
No, she's 15.
15. Mm-hmm. Oh, that's right.
Wally,
She has her learning permit.
Played by Mia Isaac in her film debut.
Single dad, has this teenage daughter. He finds out he has a terminal condition, like bone cancer.
A bone tumor.
In the brain. A bone tumor in the brain. And he's told, you have an 80% chance of dying if we do surgery, or 1 year to live if you don't. And he chooses not to take the treatment. So he thinks he's going to die in a year. So it's the beginning of the summer. And he decides that the first thing he wants to do is take his daughter to meet her mom. Because he and the mom are not together and she sort of abandoned the daughter. And he plans on doing that by taking the daughter to his college reunion. Like what, 20-year college reunion?
Because his ex-wife left him for his best friend, Dale, played by Jemaine Clement.
So he convinces the daughter to go on this road trip. It's a bumpy ride because they're not getting along. They get to their reunion and the dad realizes that the mom is no longer with this friend. So she's not going to be at the reunion. So he has to tell the daughter what his intentions were. She's upset, but they still make their way.
The reunion's in New Orleans, and he discovers from Dale that the ex-wife is now living in Florida.
So they go down to Florida. The dad meets the mom, and she's like, basically, I don't want shit to do with this girl. Like, I have my own kid. I don't need to worry about her. And the dad tells the daughter, and she is mad. She jumps in the car, takes off with the dad in the car, and she gets into an accident. And then flees the scene of the accident. He chases her, and they have a heart-to-heart, which we need to talk about. And she basically convinces the dad to seek treatment. The film opens with the daughter, she narrates throughout the film, but it opens with her saying, this film is not going... What did she say?
She said, you're not going to like how this story ends, but you like the journey, basically.
Well, that wasn't true, but the gag is...
opposite for me.
Yeah. The gag is, the daughter collapses during this, after the accident, and she's talking to her dad, convincing him to get treatment. She collapses, and that girl dies. She has a congenital heart defect or something. So
that we only get one allusion to previously, yeah.
Well, no, two, because she when she gets like anxiety sweats and then faints, and then she's also sweating in the car because she's anxious. And then we find out that those are symptoms of her condition. Anyway, she dies. We go to the funeral. Then we fast forward a year. And we see that the dad did get treatment, and it was a success. So now he's living his best life with his new girlfriend who just moved in. The end.
Annie, played by Kaya Scodelario.
Man, you have notes, but all my main thought is the story was very basic, and I think for what it ended up being, like telling, the gag of the daughter dying, I think this should have felt much more dark, and I think it should have been a story about the reality of this single dad raising a daughter who's, because at one point he tells the daughter kind of in a rage, like, because of you I couldn't follow my dreams. I kind of wish the film would have leaned into that, like,
Sure. Yeah.
that this dad decides, okay, I have a year to live, and you don't want to listen to me, then do what the hell you want to do. And then we get a portrait of this girl sort of like doing what she wants to do, and the dad living his best life. And then we come to a conclusion, whatever that might be. Like the daughter dies, and the dad realizes that wasn't the best approach or whatever. But as it is, my biggest problem is the daughter.
Well, she's written, I think, in a way that's kind of contradictory. And you can talk about what you felt about her casting and how she, looks, perhaps, because she seems older than a girl of her age. But I think she's written in a way where the actions don't make sense, such as this scene where she finds out the mother doesn't want to speak with her, and it's when John Cho tells her that he's dying, and they're checking out of a hotel, and she basically shanghais the car and gets into an accident, and then has this, somewhat eloquent monologue with him
About how, like, you're supposed to be there to, like...
But this doesn't make... She hasn't established that she's had any kind of thoughts whatsoever, because heretofore she's been asked about what she wants to do with her life and blah, 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 blah. She's an aimless, basic teenager.
Yeah, okay, so, yes. The character seems like an aimless, basic teenager. She doesn't seem particularly smart. She doesn't seem to have any goals or motivation to do anything. She doesn't even want to go to college straight away, which nothing wrong with that. She wants to, like, travel. Okay, but before I get to that, the casting of this girl is a beautiful young lady. Mm-hmm. But the minute we meet her, like as soon as they came up on screen, I thought they were boyfriend and girlfriend. I'm not saying she looks elderly. She's the type of young lady who just looks mature. Mm-hmm. If you would have told me that girl was in her 30s, I wouldn't have thought twice. I mean, she looks like she could be in her 30s. Not because she looks bad, she looks fantastic, but already it's like, okay, you look very mature, and then sometimes her character has the personality of like a very self-assured, confident, knowledgeable person, but then she makes decisions that are like, and maybe it's because I don't have teenagers and I wasn't a regular teenager. I mean, I don't know. Maybe that is how people of that age act, but it just felt very contradictory. And then when she finds out her dad's dying, she says, like, you're supposed to walk me down the aisle, you're supposed to not approve of this. She's very insightful about what she expects from her father, but like you mentioned, heretofore, she doesn't really express any interest in her father and what he means to her. So it just felt very convenient that, oh, now you want to be mad that I'm going to die when you don't listen to a damn thing I say.
Right. And also, what's interesting, and I don't know if this is... this came down in casting versus what was originally in the script, but this is a young woman who's both black and Asian, and they mention it briefly, but they also show her kind of being obsessed with white boys, and that kind of do her dirty, or definitely don't have her best interest in mind. And I think this needs to be a harder hitting script that I don't know if Hannah Marks didn't have the ability to kind of tinker with it a little bit, where I feel like this girl needed to be approached about that.
I agree.
Confronted with that.
I think to cast like the Asian dad with the black mom, and then she's obviously a person of color, and the dad even says something to the effect of like...
Well, it's a throwaway comment about how he enrolled her in African dance class when she was 4 so she could stay in touch with the other half of her.
But then, like you already mentioned, we see that she has like a white boyfriend, and then when they're on their road trip, they stop at a gas station, and she's all goo goo gaga over this white boy working at the cashiers. As a cashier, and then she ends up sneaking out to go hang out with him, and then he rejects her, basically.
When they're in Texas, yeah.
So, yeah, I guess I just think, like, for having such a random ending, like, it's the daughter who dies and the dad moves on, and that, because we get a flash forward, like, 1 year later, it's like the dad's not even, like, thinking about this girl. I just really wish it would have dug into how maybe... I mean, the daughter to me kind of seemed like, I don't know. I don't want to get too dark, but I feel like it needed to go somewhere that wasn't just like.
Well, it just, everything about this felt very familiar, very cliche. Even this beginning where once even before the credits roll, so much happens. She's got this romance with a boy that she plays a goalie for. John Cho is at the getting an MRI scan. It's like immediately you know where this film is going. It's this garden variety coming of age film and disease movie all kind of mashed up into one. But even that statement that I wrote to write down because immediately I was irritated because I'm like, oh, something. If it's not John Cho that's gonna die, then it's gonna be her, is how I thought. And it reminded me of, back when American Beauty came out in 1999 with the Kevin Spacey character saying, like, the film opens with him saying he's dead already. And, that's not provocative storytelling anymore.
I agree. I also wish that the dad doesn't really get any time to process what's happening to him. He's told that he's going to die in a year or die on the surgery table, basically. And then he effectively chooses not to get treatment, and then he goes on this trip, and the only glimpse we get of how he might feel, which really is not related to his condition, is just him saying that he didn't get to pursue his dreams
as a singer.
And then the final scene of the film before the girl dies is they go do karaoke, and like we're made to believe that he might have had a thriving career as a singer, and then we hear him sing
Iggy
Pop song, and he's not very good.
He's not bad, but it's like it's standard, karaoke performance, and there's a lot of build up in the script to that. Basically, him saying that your mother fell in love with me because of how talented I was. I believe I was so talented, and it's like, well, that's one that's not the most challenging song to karaoke.
I thought the mom looked like Juicy Smolier's sister, Journey. Yeah.
Yeah, I could see that. She doesn't really have anything to do either. But the mechanics of it are just so frustrating because nobody's communicating as they should. Because they finally find the mom. He goes to see her. John Cho doesn't tell her that he's dying. And of course she rejects to see the daughter because she's like, you didn't call ahead of time. I don't want to see this girl.
And I feel like we should have got more time with her because I don't blame her. It's like clearly I didn't want anything to do with this child.
Well, she says she didn't have custody of the kid.
I mean, I don't have kids, so I don't know. But it seems to me like after a certain point when decisions were made, it's like I'm not a part of this girl's life. And then you just show up here and it's like, what do you want me to do? Like, what am I supposed to say? I'm going to seem like the villain. Clearly this child probably has a shit ton of resentment towards me that you just throw at me. And then you don't even explain why you're doing this, which is you're going to die.
I think it fails a little bit more so with the peripheral characters, such as Annie, played by Kaya Scodelario, who for the first time really struck me as kind of looking like a young Mink Stole. But you like her in the movie, well, I thought, Crawl.
Who?
Kaya Scodelario.
Who's that?
The white girlfriend.
Of John Cho? Mm-hmm. She's in Crawl?
She's the lead girl in Crawl.
No. Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't recognize that lady. I do like Crawl, though. I recommend that.
Yes, and I did like her in Andrea Arnold's version of Wuthering Heights back in 2011. She's also has an interesting little role in Extremely Wicked, Shockingly Evil, and Vile. Is that with the Ted Bundy, Zac Efron movie? Oh, God, when John... Because basically she's like... just there for booty calls for the John Cho character because he's afraid to show a new girlfriend to his daughter. And when she's the first person he tells at this bar, and she doesn't handle it very well. And that dialogue is extremely terrible that Ms. Scodelario has to kind of parse through. And yeah, I don't know. It just didn't work at all.
What would you give it?
I would give it 2.
I would give it 2 out of 5 as well. Anything else?
I don't think... Oh, and the fact that she's a French lit teacher and there's badly spoken French throughout.
Oh, I don't know. Hit the thanks button.
Poorly spoken French, sorry.
Listen to our podcast. Bye.